Good morning. My name is Shirley Lou. I am your host for the day. You know, the last week when I had mentioned about, the FIA, ASAP, Fixed Index Annuity, ASAP, that is now available on Amazon, is hitting #1 of the chart, and it's incredible. So today, I want to break down a little bit. The last time for those of you who tune in, I talked about the benefit of all the wonderful things that's happened. But today, I want to break it down different segment. How's that, okay? So the first segment, I want to talk about it for those of you guys who may have not go to work for someone, maybe you're self-employed, or maybe you just have money saved up, or maybe you just sold a house, you sold your investment home real estate. Because a lot of time, when you got, a lot of folks tell me, well, Shirley, I don't invest anything on my life. I mainly invest a lot in housing, where, you buy a house, you invest in the house, and you get rental money every single month. And some of you guys think, okay, that's my retirement stuff. Well, one of the neat things is some of you guys, with rental, it comes with a couple things, right? Great if you got a good renter who pays on time, who's being very efficient and all that. But then at the same time, if you happen to have such a bad luck, maybe you get a renter that's paying that has behind, payment because of issue that's happening in the economy and other stuff. You can't necessarily kick them out, but even if sometimes you did, then you got to go through this crazy legal proceeding and all that. And then at the same time, you're still responsible for property taxes. You're still responsible for the mortgages on the house if you still own it and all that, right? So the money you collect in sometimes offset it, sometimes it's not. But I do meet a lot of clients sometimes that, okay, Shirley, I've got plenty of property, but property sometime, if you don't have a rented, then you've got what's called a dead asset anyway, right? So because the house can go up regardless in value or down, it doesn't matter depends on the state where you live. So one of the things I love to do is when I talked about the fixed index annuity is this. So if someone has $300,000, okay, fine, you can go buy a cheap house, I don't know, somewhere maybe in the Midwest for $300,000, and maybe you'd be lucky if you can get some rented for $1,000, or $1,500 a month or something like that, right? Imagine this: if you took that same $300,000 and you put it in. Now remember, could be from a sale of a house, or maybe just having saving and checking, where you said, okay, how does this fixed into the fixed index annuity work? Well, imagine you have $300K. You can take that money. Now we consider that called non-qualified, because this is money that you got lying around, that's just sitting there from somewhere, and you say, well, you know what? I am about to retire. I do want to get a stream of income, and maybe, at my age, I'm 60-something years old. I don't know if I want to go buy a house and deal with all these messes. I just want to be relaxing in my lifetime, and I'm having a stream of income that's available for me. Well, guess what? This is where the fixed index annuity comes in really, really beautiful, where you can put the $300,000 in, and it's considered what's called non-qualified. Why do I say non-qualified? Non-qualifier happens to be the money that you have already been taxed, okay? So when you put the money in, any gains inside of this account, just a portion of the gain are taxable, you understand? Whereas qualified money could be from 401k, other stuff. The same $300K, when you take it out, you have to pay the taxes on the $300K, plus pay taxes on the gain. But under non-qualified, you only pay taxes on the gain, right? So let me explain how that works. So I've got $300,000 lying around in my checking account, and I'm saying, you know what? I have money in there, and I need to start taking money out. Well, think about this. If you have money in saving, checking, other avenue, if you start taking it out from your checking or saving, again, you are going to deplete your money. Just like today, when you go inside your bank account and you need to do a withdrawal, right? Your money start depleting. Same scenario. So imagine this. What if you learn a way, say, wow, what do you mean? I can put this same $300,000 over here, and I can go in and take the money out, but I'll have that portion, let's say $10,000, $20,000 every single year, and I'll never run out? That is correct. Let me repeat. Same scenario. You got person A and person B. Person A, leave it in saving, checking, whatever it is they have, a CD, money market. And if you start depleting, person A will do a withdrawal and will start deplete the money. Whereas I'm taking the same amount of money over person B said, you know what, I want to go put in this fixed index annuity as a non-qualified plan. A lot of companies nowadays are also giving you what's called bonus on the money. So if you go in and you start to do, put in 200,000, maybe you get a 14% bonus, maybe you get a 21% bonus. They got so many different flavor out there. There are hundreds of companies doing this today, by the way, that's adding bonus to the money. But one thing, so imagine this, if you got 200,000 and we're adding 14% bonus, you're getting $28,000 added day one. That's 14%. I don't know if you make even 14% in your CD or money market right now, to be honest with you. And this is day one. Day one. Versus you getting 2% or 3%. And folks, I said, well, should I do it? I said, I don't know. You want to make 2%, you want to make 14% day one. And then you can start a stream of income from this thing inside the account. Remember I just mentioned to you earlier where the growth inside the lifetime income account is making 10% guarantee? That is pretty cool. Being able to be in that position to say, okay, I've just repositioned my money without doing things a whole lot of differently. I'm just shuffling it from here to here. See, one of the things part of your financial planning is that you need to sit there and take a look at and do some comparison. Side by side, do a couple companies, don't do just one. I always do that with my client. I say, hey, I thought this one could be a good one, but let me do this. Let me check a couple other ones. So therefore, when you're working with a company that's called non-captive broker agency that allows to sell a bunch of other stuff, that allows to introduce other avenue, other product, you're better presented. You've got a better advantages instead of being obligated to just one, right? And that's why I love being a middleman where I can offer multiple company, multiple accounts. Because it is about you. It is about the needs of the clients. And every one of you out there has a different needs, right? One may say, well, I may need the money tomorrow, Shirley. Another one say, no, I don't need the money till 5 years from now. Another one may say, I'll never need the money. And then some of you guys may say, well, what if I can leave that as a legacy for my kids? But here's the deal. I don't want to pay the taxes, and I don't want my kids to have to be responsible for that taxes. So there's a lot of different ways that I'm going to show you how to structure this. And you know what? My book, FIA ASAP, talks about this. Well, it talks about how do I take, a retirement account conversion into a Roth. And maybe let me finish up the conversation about the non-qualified plan, and I'll go talk about the Roth conversion and how that works and all that, okay? So now you've got, again, CD money market move over 300,000 over here. Bonus money, you have choices. I'm going to ask you as a client, hey, let me ask you this, that $300,000 that we moved over, are you interested in for it to have growth? Or are you more interested in having guaranteed lifetime income? Or some of you say to me, well, Shirley, I'm kind of greedy. I want growth and I want income. Now that plays a different game, right? So now I gave you third choices, right? Did I just confuse you? Of course I did. But it's very easy to be able to understand where you are and what you need to do. Okay, remember the third account I talked about when the client said, well, I want growth, but I want income. Well, for those clients, again, it depends on the company, it depends on carrier. Some of those, they have what's called a restriction, where it allows for you to put the money in there for like 10 years to have all the growth, like the market. And then after 10 years is when you can execute starting income from that. So that's the third option that I very, very seldom talked about, because most of the time I either get a client say, I want a lot of growth, or no, I want income now. But the third option is, giving you access to both. Again, my book talks about this. My book talks about strategy. So hopefully inside the book, we'll give you a scenario, give you idea, what do you want to do? Because every one of you are differently. Not all of us made the same. So now, going back to that, it's a great way for you to say, okay, so here's what I have, here's what I wanted to do, and here's how I want my money to grow. And then it goes into the factor, well, how much of a growth do you want? Some of you want high growth on these non-qualified plan. Some of them you even said to me, well, Shirley, I'm okay with, having some kind of guarantee. Now, I'm going to throw a little wrench into this thing, which I never very seldom talk about. So I had a client that said, okay, what if I want some growth, but I also want a guaranteed certain amount? What if I told you there's accounts out there, maybe the account is capped at 8%, 7.5, okay? I'm talking about growth in your account. So the way they do this unique accounts, that if the market makes 0.0001, remember 0.0001, that's less than 1%. This account will give a client, in this case, a 7.5% guarantee no matter what. As long as the market performs, you can have that guaranteed growth on your account every single year. Now, you remember one thing, guys. If you look at long-term investment market, you'd be lucky if the market makes the average of 6, 7, or 8%, okay? Long-term. Just because some of you make 20, 30%, you're thinking you're high. No, you make 20, 30% during that time, but if you look, there are years where the market loses money, whatever you make goes down with it too, okay? So, but if you're thinking about averages, well, if I can make 7%, 7.5 averages return in long term, I think that's pretty cool. Well, this other unique account allows for you to do that. For those clients that, you know what, I believe the market could make a little bit, but not a whole lot. As long as it makes 0.001, some of these accounts will give you a guarantee automatic 7.5 or 8%. It depends on the fund that you choose. It's really, really neat. But when the market loses money, everything locks down. Now, again, that is another unique account where people may not realize. But then again, for some of you guys that know, you know what, under my lifetime income, I just want a certain guarantee, that's it. You get that choice as well. Again, it's so many different flavor. And as an, a consultant, they can run you a different scenario, different company, and say, okay, if I did this, what does that look like? If I did this, what does that look like? So finding a non-captive agency, those are the kind of things that can offer you that. My team and I love these kind of things. It's like a puzzle putting it together for clients. So, if you ever want to reach out to us, it's Shirley Luu and Associates. And you can always Google my name. You can always reach me and my team at 703-608-1203. I'm excited because I do a lot of show and hosting around there. Would love to connect with you. So, for me, a message to you, remember, we rise by uplifting others. See you.